What if you woke up 1,000 years in the past, but with all the knowledge of today? Before we jump in, if you enjoy stories like this, please follow the channel and share this with a friend. It really helps this page grow and lets me create more stories for you. Okay, let's get into it. So picture this. Our hero is Chu Tianking. One second, he's a top-tier emergency room doctor in our time, dealing with the daily chaos. The next, he wakes up, completely bewildered, in the middle of China's Tang Dynasty. He is literally a man out of time, thrown into a world with no concept of germs, surgery, or modern science. But here's the twist. He's not totally helpless. He's got a secret ace up his sleeve, a kind of futuristic system in his head that lets him materialize modern medical equipment out of thin air. You know, an inhaler, a blood pressure cuff, you name it. So what does he do? He does the only thing he knows how. He opens a tiny clinic in a remote village, ready to shake things up. Well, one day, two travelers show up. They're trying to look like common folk, but something's off. Their clothes are a little too fine, they're bearing a little too noble. Turns out, they're the Emperor and Empress, traveling in disguise to see how their people are really living. And as they're watching our doctor work, disaster strikes. All of a sudden, the Empress just clutches her chest. She can't breathe, her face goes white, and she collapses, gasping for air. It's a massive bronchial asthma attack. Her guards panic because back then, an attack like this was a death sentence, period. Chu Tianking doesn't even hesitate. He knows exactly what this is. He calls on his system, and poof, a blue salbutamol inhaler appears in his hand. He rushes over, puts it to the Empress's lips, and presses down. One puff, that's all it takes. Her airways open up and she can breathe again. To everyone else, it's an absolute miracle. The Emperor is completely stunned. He demands to know what that thing is. Thinking on his feet, the doctor spins a wild story. He calls it a canister of divine iron, something from the mysterious western regions, used to keep a secret family medicine potent. The explanation is shaky at best, but hey, the Empress is alive, and that's all that matters. So a few days later, the Emperor comes back. But this time, he's alone, and he's dropped the disguise. He looks scared. He tells the doctor he's been having these awful headaches and dizzy spells, and none of his fancy imperial doctors have a clue. He's hoping this miracle worker from the village can figure it out. Chu Tianking, cool as a cucumber, just tells the Emperor to sit down and roll up his sleeve. He summons a blood pressure cuff. Now, as this thing starts to inflate, the Emperor totally freaks out, yelling that it's crushing his arm. The doctor just tells him to chill out. The machine beats, and the number it displays is 180. Incredibly, dangerously high. Of course, the Emperor has no idea what blood pressure even is, so the doctor just lays it out for him 21st century style. He basically says, look, if this number stays this high, you're looking at heart failure, maybe a brain aneurysm, what he calls an intracranial explosion, and then he puts it in the simplest terms possible. And finally, you kick the bucket. The Emperor, the most powerful man in the world, is absolutely terrified. Cornered and desperate for an answer, the Emperor finally confesses his deepest secret. For months, he's been trying to achieve immortality. He reveals that his court alchemists have been feeding him a special golden elixir, a potion they promised would let him live forever. The doctor's eyes narrow. What's in this elixir, he asks. And the Emperor, so proud, lists off the sacred ingredients. Realgar, which is basically arsenic, mercury, the toxic liquid metal, and lead powder. You can just feel these two worlds colliding in this one moment. The color drains from the doctor's face. He looks at the Emperor and delivers the most devastating news of his life. That's not an elixir of life, he says. When you put those ingredients together, you get a gut-wrenching poison. Then he just breaks down the simple, horrifying science. Those sacred ingredients, they're all heavy metals. He explains that the human body can't process them, so they just build up, slowly destroying your organs from the inside and making your blood pressure skyrocket. The Emperor's quest for eternal life was literally killing him. The Emperor is just speechless. He's been poisoning himself. This humble village doctor, with his bizarre gadgets and shockingly blunt words, has just saved his life, again. Not with some mystical power, but with cold, hard logic. He just shattered a deadly superstition that had fooled emperors for centuries. Overwhelmed with gratitude, the Emperor makes an offer that is just unheard of. He looks at Chu Tianking and says
He wants to become sworn brothers with him, to be equals, sharing fortune and misfortune together. He's offering to make a time-traveling doctor his brother.
So a 21st century doctor becomes the sworn brother of a 7th century emperor, all because science cut through superstition. But winning the emperor's trust is one thing. Surviving the cutthroat politics of the imperial palace, well, that's a whole other story. If this story moved you or made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And be sure to follow the channel for more stories like this.